Today's video is sponsored by Squarespace. We all have those specific tools that we come across from time to time as photographers that we quickly wonder how we worked without, and for me, the Jobo CPE has become one of those. And after developing at home for the past couple of years using just a Patterson tank, the Jobo has really changed my entire workflow and made things a lot more enjoyable and consistent. So today in this video, I'm gonna do a rundown of the CPE. I'm gonna talk about how this works, show you my workflow for developing film, and also share some of the accessories and tanks that I use to develop 35, 120, and also 4x5 sheet film. So if you're not familiar with the Jobo CPE or what these are or how they work, I'll give you a very, very quick walkthrough right now. So basically this is just a big, giant plastic tub, has a heating element in the bottom, and then it has a thermostat control here. So you heat up a water bath, which keeps your developing chemicals at a consistent temperature, as well as the tank itself. And then it just has this motorized shaft here that has a magnet on it. And then you take one of the Jobo drums, which have a magnet on them, and you attach it, and this rotates the drum consistently back and forth throughout the entire development process. So this is still hands-on. It's not like a fully automatic approach. And for me, at least, there's three things that kind of sell me on the Jobo. I'll go more in depth with these after, but the first one is just the convenience of this. The second is like the cost efficiency when it comes to chemicals and usage. And then there's also this consistency that the entire unit brings, which I really enjoy. But this isn't like a necessity. It's probably not going to be for everyone. There's all sorts of different tools and methods and ways that you can develop your film. So I think it's all about just like finding whatever suits you best. So the model that I have is the CPE2. There's also a CPE2 Plus, a CPE3, CPP versions. I'm definitely not an expert on all the different models. I think the CPP are just a little more robust, larger capacity, digital readout, a few kind of advanced features. But I ended up with the CPE2 because I found someone actually in my local area giving this away. I went to pick up some photo accessories and this was in like a lawnmower box. So I definitely lucked out with this one, but you can find the CPE2s for I think a couple $100 if you look around. I will say though, just make sure if you're buying an older used one, you check that the motor's working and the heating element, thermostat control, stuff like that. But the CPE2 basically does everything I needed to do. This still has quite a large capacity, which I'll talk about after. I can do 4x5 film with this and kind of meets all of my needs. You can buy all sorts of different tanks and graduates and bottles and inserts for tanks. So you really can set these up to match your specific needs. So when it comes to tanks, obviously you have to use Jobo tanks, and you can buy these and just use them for hand processing. They're actually quite nice. But if you want to eventually use them on a machine like this, you have to buy this magnet base attachment, or you just buy a tank that already has one on it, which allows you to obviously attach it to the machine. And there's three different series. So there's the 1500 series, which is these smaller tanks for roll film, 2500 series, and then there's a 3000 series as well. And you can buy different reels and different inserts for them. So the 1500 series are strictly roll film. These can do 35 and 120. But the really cool thing with 120 is that the Jobo reels can actually take 2 rolls of 120 on them at a time. You get these little red tabs. I don't own any yet. So all of a sudden, you have this tank and you can put 2 rolls in of 120 and develop it at the same time. So just really efficient. But then you can go and say you want to do more volume. You can buy these little expansion modules. So this is the 1530. Put that on, snap down the retaining ring, put on the lid, and all of a sudden in this setup, you could now do 6 rolls of 120 at a time. So just really nice, obviously, if you're doing like a lot of volume as well. So next up is the 2500 series. You can do roll film with these, and you can also do sheet film. That's what I use it for. And this has been one of the best parts about the Jobo system. For me, previously I was using a Patterson tank to do 4x5 sheet film, but the nice thing with this is the 2520 tank, and this is the 2509N insert by Jobo. You have to buy this separate. But this is really easy to load, nice to use, and it holds 6 sheets of film at once, uses very little chemicals, which I'll talk about after. So just amazing to be able to do that type of volume at the same time. Okay, and that brings us to kind of the three main selling points. We might as well touch on cost and efficiency first as we talk about tanks. This is a huge one. So since this is rotary development, the tank's on here, it's turning the entire time. The chemicals are kind of getting sloshed about in there. You don't need nearly as much volume in the tank. And Jobo lists two numbers on all their tanks. So one is for rotary development and one is for hand agitation. So this is the 1510. For a roll of 35, you would need 240 mil. But if you're doing rotary processing on the CPE, you only need 140 mil. So quite a bit less, but where it gets really good for the work I do is with this 2520 tank doing the 4x5. So for 6 sheets of 4x5 film, you only need 270 mil of chemical solution in here, which is amazing. When I was using the Patterson tank, I had a 2-sheet holder and I had to use 1,000 mil of chemical solution. And when you're using something like DDX, which is 1 shot, obviously gets expensive very quick. So this has been so nice, especially doing black and white, just to really cut down on the price and how much developer you're going through. Okay, and the second thing is just like the convenience and I guess the speed of it all. Development times are still very similar. That doesn't change too much, but more so just having this like stationary permanent setup that I leave in my bathroom or development room, and it's just there ready to go. When I want to develop film, I just walk in there, set the thermostat, turn it on, put my chemicals in, and then come back out here for like 30 or 45 minutes, let everything heat up and get to temperature, and then I'm ready to go. Whereas in the past, I'd pull out my bin full of graduates and I would go in there and I'd be using the tap to kind of try and get my temperatures right. And it was just like a lot more of an involved process that I would put off quite a bit. But the second thing is with the rotary development, when it comes to like the actual developer phase, pour it in, you attach the tank, and if you're doing black and white, say it's 10 minutes of developing time, you can just go sit down for those 10 minutes. Whereas in the past, I would have my timer, and every minute I would kind of be sat in there waiting to agitate by hand. So it's a lot more of a hands-off process and just like a lot more enjoyable. Okay, and then the third thing is just the consistency of it all. So first, with the temperature control, it's amazing to have all of your chemicals dialed in at the exact same temperature, and then also have the development tank running through the bath the entire time. It just brings this like confidence to the procedure, knowing that everything is exactly where it should be at. But also having this rotary inversions essentially, or this rotary processing, it never changes. For every single roll of film, it's gonna be dialed in the exact same way. So just this consistency to the entire workflow, which never really changes at all. Next up, we're going to develop a roll of color film, but just have to quickly talk about the sponsor today, which is Squarespace. So if you've been wanting to build a website for your work, Squarespace is a great platform to do just that. What I've come to love about them is just the ease of use and the quality of templates. You can set up a portfolio in minutes without any previous experience, choosing from a wide range of clean and stylish designs that are customizable with endless design options, and also just really simple features like clicking and dragging to reorder gallery images, which is something that I absolutely love. You can also set up a shop to sell prints, books, zines, and other things like that. So check out squarespace.com today for your free trial, and when you're ready to launch, you can use my link below to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or a domain. Okay, so now we're gonna develop a roll of color film, and I'm using the Cinestill CS41 kit, which has a developer and a Blix bath, which I store in 1 liter bottles. And when I'm ready to develop, I pour around 300 ml of each into the Jobo bottles, turn on the machine, set the thermostat to 39 degrees, place the chemicals, an extra bottle with pre-washed water in it, and the tank loaded with film all into the bath, and then give it around half an hour to all heat up. Okay, temps are good. We're gonna start. So we got Dev, got a Blix, and then I'm just gonna do a pre-rinse with this. Super straightforward pre-rinse of a minute. So everything's good. Gonna turn on the motor. Just cap my development there for a second. I've had my tank just preheating in this bath as everything comes up. So get my timer here. Like I said, we're gonna start with a minute rinse. So just a quick one. This isn't a necessity. I think it's optional. In my mind, it's getting the tank warmed up, getting the film coated and everything. So, I mean, super simple. 39-degree water, and we'll pour it out here in just a second. Some nice green water. Okay, so we're gonna do dev now, 3.5 minutes. So we'll start. Put a glove on. And we're off. So now we just wait. Like I said, 3.5 minutes. We've got about 3 minutes, 10 seconds going. So probably around the 3:20 mark is when I'll pull the tank and empty out the dev. Okay, coming up on 3:30. Empty the developer. Then in goes the Blix. Okay, coming up in 8 minutes. Then we'll empty out the Blix. I'm gonna rinse, we're done. Nice and straightforward. Okay, turn that off. Okay, moment of truth. Images, that's what we want. Looking good, hang this to dry and scan some film. So the results from the Cinecell kit I found to be okay. They definitely need some color tweaks after scanning, and this is something I'll probably upgrade pretty soon, but if you're looking to get into color developing, this is such a simple process and a great way to gain some confidence and get started at home. So is a Jobo CPE for you? I obviously can't answer this directly. I can just kind of share my opinion and my experience, but a huge thing for me with this is having a place for it to live permanently. That is why this works so well for me. I wouldn't necessarily want to have to pack this away and put it in a closet and then get it back out every time I want it to develop, unless I guess say once a month you're taking this out and doing a huge run of development, then that could still work. And then also, there's other ways to do some of the things that the Jobo does. You could obviously just get a big plastic tub and use something like a sous vide for temperature control, or there's other simple rotary processing devices out there. There's something I think called a bees processor. It just sits on your table and you put a Patterson tank or Jobo tank on it and it rotates it back and forth. So definitely not the only way to do some of these things, but for me it's a really nice kind of all-in-one unit in a permanent place, ready to go whenever I want to develop. Okay, so that wraps this one up. I hope you enjoyed this look at the Jobo CPE. I would love to hear from you if you have any specific ways or tools that you use to develop at home, things that you are really sold on that you enjoy. Let me know below. Maybe that can help other people who are looking for other solutions when it comes to developing film at home. But other than that, thank you for watching. I'll see you very soon.